Hello, everybody. We are in Earth Science. Today is April 21st. This is what you should be seeing on your page right now. It's day 2 because it's Tuesday. Let's go over what we need to do for the day. First, we're going to read our I can statement. Then, for the mini lesson, we're going to go over some vocabulary words. For our work period, you should be watching this video right now, and then you also are going to be following along as we do a read aloud of our new chapter. And then you're going to take a one-question quiz. So let's start. I can statement. I can construct an explanation of the relationship between air pressure, fronts, and air masses, and how they impact the formation of meteorological events such as thunderstorms or tornadoes. So, we need to understand, guys, how air pressure, how air mass, how they all affect our weather. So let's start our mini lesson. We're going to be reading some vocabulary words. Alrighty? First word, a cloud. A cloud is a collection of small water droplets or ice crystals suspended in the air, which form when the air is cooled and condensation occurs. Guys, we've talked about condensation during the water cycle. Condensation is the change of state from a gas to a liquid. Okay, after the gas rises in the air, it forms into a cloud. Okay, forms into that big liquid cloud, and then it what? It falls from the sky. It starts to rain. That's what a cloud does. The next word we're talking about is humidity. Humidity is the amount of water vapor in the air. Sometimes we talk about how humid it is. It feels wet outside even though it's not raining. It feels wet and sticky. That's because there's a lot of water vapor in the air. The next word is precipitation. This is another word we learned when we talked about the water cycle. It's any form of water that falls to the Earth's surface from the clouds. The next word is relative humidity. It's the ratio of the amount of water vapor in the air to the amount of water vapor needed to reach saturation at a given temperature. And the last word, weather. The short-term state of the atmosphere, including temperature, humidity, precipitation, wind, and visibility. So let's start our work period. You should be watching this video and following along. I'm going to be reading these slides right here. You can scroll down to read more. And this is important for you guys to all follow along every day in order to understand the material. So, water in the air is our first section. What is weather? Knowing about weather is important in our daily lives. Your plans to go outside can change if it rains. Being prepared for extreme weather conditions such as hurricanes and tornadoes can even save your life. Weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a certain time and place. Make sure you guys write this down on a piece of paper because this is your question for today. What is weather? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a certain time and place. Weather depends a lot on the amount of water in the air. Therefore, to understand weather, you need to understand the water cycle. The water cycle is something we already talked about, guys. It's the movement of water between the atmosphere, the land, and the oceans. The sun is the main source of energy for the water cycle. The sun's energy heats up the earth. This causes liquid water to evaporate or change into a water vapor, and then when the water vapor cools, it may change back into a liquid and form clouds, and that is called condensation. The liquid water may fall as rain, snow, sleet, or hail. So what is humidity? Water vapor makes up only a small fraction of the mass of the atmosphere. However, the small amount of water vapor has an important effect on weather and climate. When the sun's energy heats up Earth's surface, water in the oceans and water bodies evaporate. The amount of water vapor in the air is called humidity. Warmer air can hold more water vapor than cooler air. So think about in the summertime, it's a lot more humid than it is in the winter time. So you can see right here, the higher the temperature goes, the more humid it is. Next, relative humidity. Scientists often describe the amount of water in the air using relative humidity. Relative humidity is the ratio of the amount of water vapor in the air to the greatest amount the air can hold. There are 2 steps to calculating relative humidity, and we are going to go over this another day. Let's keep going. Factors affecting relative humidity. So these are things that change the relative humidity. Temperature and humidity can affect relative humidity. As humidity increases, relative humidity increases. If the temperature stays the same, relative humidity decreases as the temperature rises and increases as the temperature drops if the humidity stays the same. Scientists measure relative humidity using special tools. One of the tools is called a psychrometer. A psychrometer contains 2 thermometers. The bulb of one thermometer is covered with a wet cloth. This is called a wet bulb thermometer. The other thermometer bulb is dry. This thermometer is a dry bulb thermometer. You are probably most familiar with the dry bulb thermometer. Wet bulb thermometers work differently than dry bulb thermometers. As air passes through the cloth on the wet bulb thermometer, some of the water in the cloth evaporates. As the water evaporates, the cloth cools. The wet bulb thermometer shows the temperature of the cloth. If humidity is low, the water evaporates more quickly. Therefore, the temperature reading on the wet bulb thermometer is much lower than the reading on the dry bulb thermometer. If the humidity is high, less water evaporates. Therefore, the temperature changes very little. This is another post about relative humidity. And now we're at what is dew point. What is dew point? What happens when relative humidity reaches 100? At this point, the air is saturated with water vapor. The temperature at which this happens is the dew point. At temperatures below the dew point, liquid water droplets can form from the water vapor in the air. Condensation happens when the air is saturated with water vapor. Air can become saturated if water vapor evaporates and enters the air as water vapor. Air can also become saturated when it cools below its dew point. This is an everyday example. You've probably seen air become saturated because of a temperature decrease. For example, when you add ice cubes to a glass of juice, the temperatures of the juice and the glass decrease. So you're adding the ice cubes to this glass, and so that juice is going to get colder, and so is the glass. The glass absorbs heat from the air, so the temperature of the air near the glass decreases. When the air's temperature drops below its dew point, water vapor condenses on the glass. The condensed water forms droplets on the glass. So that's usually when you see this kind of like residue on your glass. That's when the dew point forms. Now, how do clouds form? A cloud is a group of millions of tiny water droplets or ice crystals. Clouds form as the air rises and cools. When air cools below the dew point, water droplets or ice crystals form. Water droplets form when water condenses above 0 degrees. Ice crystals form when water condenses below 0 degrees. There are many different kinds of clouds. Scientists classify them by their shape and how high they are in the sky. The 3 main cloud shapes are the stratus clouds, cumulus clouds, and cirrus clouds. The 3 altitude groups are low clouds, middle clouds, and high clouds. The figure on the next page shows these different types of clouds. I did not put that figure because we do not need that. What is precipitation? We all know what precipitation, guys, is. It's when a solid or a liquid water falls to the earth from the clouds. So you've got rain, right? Water droplets in clouds are tiny. Each droplet is smaller than the period at the end of the sentence. these tiny droplets can combine with each other. As the droplets combine, they become larger. When a droplet reaches a certain size, it falls to the earth as rain. Then you've got sleet. Sleet forms when rain falls through a layer of very cold air. If the air is cold enough, the rain freezes. So it's basically freezing rain. We all know what snow is, right? Snow forms when temperatures are so low that water vapor turns directly into a solid. That is, the water vapor in the cloud turns into an ice crystal without becoming a liquid first. Then you've got hail. It's balls or lumps of ice that fall from the clouds, okay? Next, after reading this, I want you guys to click Activities, Quiz, April 21st, Water in the Air, and you're going to take a one-question quiz. The one question is at the very beginning of these slides, and it says, what is weather? Weather is the condition of the atmosphere at a certain time and place. Okay? Good luck, guys.